The devil in the Bible. The devil, while present in various forms across different religions and comparable to some mythological deities, is most recognized for his role in Christianity. In modern biblical translations, he is portrayed as the ultimate adversary of God and his followers. Many believe the devil's first appearance in the Bible is in Genesis, where he takes the form of a serpent that persuades Eve, who then persuades Adam to eat the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. As a result of their actions, Adam and Eve are expelled from paradise and sentenced to a mortal life. Christians often view the devil as a fallen angel, once a radiant being named Lucifer who rebelled against God. This belief is frequently linked to the book of Isaiah, which proclaims, "How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations." Names for the devil. Some scholars contend that Lucifer may not originally have been a proper name, but rather a term meaning morning star, derived from its Latin roots. Despite this, the name has persisted and is widely used to refer to the devil, alongside other monikers such as Prince of Darkness, Beelzebub, and Satan. In the book of Ezekiel, there's a passage that describes the king of Tyre as a cherub who once resided in Eden, which some interpret as a metaphorical reference to the devil. This interpretation is bolstered by the context of the passage, which includes themes of pride and fall. In the New Testament, the devil makes several notable appearances. Jesus and his apostles frequently caution against the devil's deceptions and temptations. One of the most well-known episodes is the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, where the devil offers him immense wealth and power in exchange for worship, attempting to divert him from his divine mission. These descriptions and narratives contribute to the complex and evolving image of the devil in Christian theology, portraying him as both a literal adversary and a symbol of moral and spiritual challenges. The devil in other religions. The devil is a recurring figure in various religions and cultures, often symbolizing a powerful force of malevolence that stands in opposition to goodness. In Islam, the devil is known as Shaytan, and like his counterpart in Christianity, Shaytan is believed to have rebelled against God. This rebellious nature aligns with the broader portrayal of the devil as an adversary to divine authority. In Judaism, the term Satan doesn't typically refer to a distinct personal being. Instead, it is used to describe an adversarial force or challenge that tests one's faith and character, rather than a literal demon. In Buddhism, Maara represents the demon who sought to lead Buddha astray from his path to enlightenment. This is analogous to how Jesus in Christianity resisted the devil's temptations in the wilderness. The presence of Maara serves as a significant obstacle to spiritual progress, much like the devil's role in Christian narratives. Across various belief systems, including among those who are not religious, the devil is often associated with concepts of fear, punishment, and moral corruption. This figure embodies the struggle against malevolence and immorality, reflecting a universal archetype of evil that transcends specific religious contexts and resonates with fundamental human concerns about ethics and virtue. The devil and hell. The most enduring and vivid portrayals of the devil are closely linked to the concept of hell, as depicted in the Bible. According to biblical descriptions, hell is envisioned as a place of eternal fire, specifically prepared for the devil and his angels. Despite this, the Bible does not explicitly state that the devil governs or rules over hell. Rather, it only indicates that he will ultimately be cast into this fiery realm as a form of divine judgment. The idea of the devil reigning over hell may have its origins in the influential work of Dante Alighieri, particularly his 14th-century epic poem, The Divine Comedy. In this seminal work, Dante describes a dramatic and vivid scene where hell is formed as a result of a celestial upheaval. According to the poem, God expelled the devil and his demons from heaven with such overwhelming force that it created a vast and gaping chasm in the center of the earth. This imaginative portrayal of hell, complete with its grim and fantastical details, has significantly shaped popular perceptions of the devil's dominion over the infernal realm. Dante's depiction, with its elaborate and often terrifying imagery, has contributed to the enduring belief that the devil not only inhabits, but actively rules over hell. This vision has permeated cultural and artistic representations of the devil throughout history, reinforcing the idea of a powerful and malevolent being presiding over a hellish domain. The devil's appearance. In The Divine Comedy, Dante depicted the devil as a grotesque, winged creature with 3 faces, each gnawing on a notorious sinner, whose wings generated icy winds that swept across hell. This vivid portrayal left a lasting impression on how people visualize the devil. Interestingly, the Bible doesn't provide a detailed description of the devil. However, early artistic renditions of Dante's poem, featuring horrifying depictions of demons torturing souls, deeply influenced popular views of hell and the devil's role in it. By the end of the Middle Ages, the devil had evolved into the familiar horned figure, wielding a trident, with hooves and a long tail, an image that remains iconic to this day. The devil and witches. The fear of the devil played a significant role in the witchcraft hysteria that swept through Europe and New England during the 16th and 17th centuries. Both Protestants and Catholics were quick to accuse individuals of practicing witchcraft and making pacts with the devil. This widespread paranoia was fueled by the belief that the devil was actively working to corrupt and undermine the righteous. In Europe, the witch hunts were often driven by a mix of religious fervor and social upheaval. The fear of witches and their supposed connection to the devil led to numerous trials and executions, with accusations sometimes stemming from personal grudges or local conflicts. The infamous witch hunts in places like Würzburg and Bamberg, which resulted in hundreds of executions, were emblematic of this period of intense fear and superstition. In New England, the Puritans' strict religious and social codes contributed to their heightened fear of the devil. The Puritans believed that the devil granted supernatural powers to those who made covenants with him. This belief was a central factor in the Salem witch trials, a dark chapter in American history. The trials began in 1692 in Salem, Massachusetts, where the Puritans' fear of witchcraft and devilish influence led them to accuse many of practicing harmful magic. The Salem witch trials were characterized by a frenzied atmosphere of paranoia. The Puritans' rigid lifestyle, combined with their suspicion of outsiders and the unknown, created a volatile environment. Between 1692 and 1693, at least 200 people were accused of witchcraft. The trials were marked by sensational testimonies and dubious evidence, leading to the execution of 20 individuals, most of whom were women. Many others were imprisoned, and the trials left a lasting scar on the community. This period of hysteria reflects the broader historical pattern of how fear of the devil and witchcraft has influenced societal behaviors and led to tragic consequences. The legacy of these witch hunts serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of fear and superstition when combined with a lack of due process and critical thinking. The devil in modern times. Religious translations are often subject to debate, and interpretations of early texts about the devil are no exception. Disagreements over the meanings and implications of these texts have been common throughout history. Despite these varying interpretations, the devil's image as a symbol of malevolence has remained largely consistent. Most Christians continue to view him as a literal being who has played a significant role in corrupting the world and causing chaos. However, not all perspectives on the devil are negative. For instance, adherents of the Church of Satan or Satanists do not worship the devil in a traditional sense, but rather use him as a symbol of atheism, individualism, and personal empowerment. In contrast, theistic Satanists worship the devil as a deity and may engage in rituals or make pacts that align with their beliefs. The devil's presence extends into popular culture, particularly in Hollywood. Iconic actors such as Jack Nicholson, Vincent Price, and Al Pacino have portrayed the devil, contributing to his enduring allure in film. The horror film Rosemary's Baby, in which Mia Farrow's character gives birth to Satan's offspring, has left a lasting impact on audiences, particularly expectant mothers who may have been unnerved by the film's premise. Given the enduring fascination with the archetypal struggle between good and evil, the devil's influence is likely to persist across various realms of religion, literature, and popular culture, continuing to captivate and provoke interest worldwide. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll debunk the common misconceptions about the devil. Building on our deep dive into understanding the devil across various cultures and religions, we'll tackle the myths and misunderstandings that have persisted throughout history. Discover the truths behind the devil's role and symbolism, and see how many of these beliefs are more fiction than fact. Don't miss it. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell to be the first to watch.